remove the whole cartridge, we can grab this with our hands, and this will actually screw off because it's not on there super duper tight. And then there's also a fine tune adjustment here. This is a little fine tune adjustment which actually pushes the cartridge up against the back of the body. So if you were to put the cartridge in and you'd screw this in and it went as tight as it can go and you still got a little leakage at the bottom, you could fine tune this with this little adjusting ring here, and this will actually push the cartridge up against the back of the body, or you can also loosen it if it's too tight. So I'm going to grab this with my hand, and we are going to back this off. And this is your little cartridge in here, and there's a ceramic inside of it. So now, when you take this off, bear in mind that, and I pull this cartridge out, the little water's going to come out of here. So you might want to put a little glass under there. You might want to put a little piece of aluminum foil and direct it into the shower wherever you're working. And simply with this particular company, it's pretty simple. You just give it a little rock and bingo, the cartridge comes out, and you can see into the back of the body there. You can see the little ports. You have your cold air on the right, you have your hot air on the left. You have a port that goes up to the shower, and you can't see it, but it also goes down to the tub nozzle. Now this is the cartridge. Now this is a brand new cartridge. Obviously you can tell that by looking at it. And you know what? There are guys that would actually go through the trouble of taking these apart. You can pull these apart. You can get separate parts. You can buy the top head. You can buy the bottom head. You can replace their little O-rings, little rubber rings inside as well as a balancing spool. Let's see if you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that. No, you really can't hear it. But you know what, guys? You went through the trouble. You went through the motions. Just go get a new cartridge. They're really not that expensive. And why bother? So to put this back, simply what you would do, and again, when I do put cartridges or stems back, you want to get your silicone waterproof lubricant and maybe coat the O-ring a little bit. I like to put waterproof silicone on everything, especially when I'm working on faucets. And what you want to do is you're going to see these two little protrusions here, and they have to match up with the indents in the top of the shower body. So these rubber O-rings will go on the bottom, and the two little protrusions will go on the top, and that will keep the cartridge from moving. So we'll give that a slight little push here, and we want to make sure that it doesn't rotate, and it doesn't rotate. And then what we'll do is we'll get our sleeve and put our sleeve back on there, and we're going to catch that. And again, we can make this hand tight, and again, as I mentioned, we can use the adjusting ring here to fine tune that cartridge. You know, if it's too loose, if it's too tight, we can go clockwise, counterclockwise accordingly. One thing I want to mention too is that on this particular cartridge here, well, let me show you. I'll take this off. I'm just going to take the outer ring off, and what you can do is, there's an adjustment on here. You can actually adjust this. You can adjust just how much hot water you want to mix with the cold water, and you can do that by adjusting this little limit stop here. There's a little limit stop on the cartridge, and depending upon, you can turn it in increments. You can go little tiny turns, and there are teeth on the outside here, and there are teeth on the inside of this ring, so you can get this to where every time you turn this on, it'll get to a certain point, then you'll get perfectly mixed water, and that's where it'll stay all the time. So depending upon how hot you want the water, you may move this ring to the left. If you want a little cooler, you move it to the right. But this is simply an adjusting ring or a limit stop to adjust how hot or how mixed you want the water to be. Once you have that all set, we'll put our little adjustment ring back in place here. And again, I'll probably put silicone grease on here, because the silicone not only aids with everything going back together, but it also aids when you want to remove it again, because it'll come off relatively easily. And we'll get that on there, and then we're just going to tighten that up, snug that up. And now it's just simply a matter of reversing the procedure. So once we have that on there, we're going to put the cartridge in the down position. Let me this is the off position. This is on. This is off. Okay, so now I got it in the off position, which is going to allow us to turn the water on. So now we're going to turn our cold water on. We're going to turn our hot water on. And what you might want to do is give it a test before you put the plate back on. You could put your handle on, you could turn it on, and then we're going to, test the hot water, and we're going to test the cold water, make sure everything flows. We're going to shut it off. We're going to make sure everything holds perfectly. Then we can proceed to put the sleeve back on. And after we get our chrome sleeve back on, we can proceed to put the plate back on. And I just want to show you this. This plate has a nice big thick rubber gasket up against it, which actually sits up against the tile wall and will prevent water from going through there. So this will slip on like this, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, but it's got markings on it. It's got hot, it's got cold. And then what we're going to do is we have to line up this plate, and then we simply have to go back in there and catch those screws, which is a little bit of a pain in the neck to do because the screws are so long. You have to sometimes turn this plate, but I think I got lucky this time. I caught that one. Let's see if we catch this one, because they have to go in a specific area, specific place. And I think I caught this one. Wow, today's my lucky day. And we're going to go back. We're going to get our 4-way. We got our Phillips tip in here. And we're going to drive those screws home. And you want to snug them up. You don't want to, get crazy with them, but you want to get them in there tight enough so that this plate sits up against the tile. Or in this case, my white waterproof background that I use to set up the demonstration piece that you're looking at. And we'll get that in there. And again, this is not that difficult to do. This is a pretty straightforward, pretty easily repairable unit. And to be honest with you, these things, I put these things in. I mean, I haven't gone back yet and replaced a cartridge. And it's been, 10 plus years. I've been putting these shower bodies in a long time, and they're very, very good quality. Once we get the plate back on, next step is to get our handle. We'll put our handle on there, and then we want to go in there, and what I like to do is I'll line that Allen key up with the Allen screw, put that on there so I don't have to go looking for it. And we're going to clockwise now. Clockwise we go, and there we are. And there we go. Pretty simple. Not that difficult to do. As I said, there are a lot of companies out there that use the same cartridge, just different trimmings. Looks a little different on the outside, but basically the cartridge is the same, or the cartridge is pretty similar. Not that difficult to do. Listen, if you have any questions about this video or any of the videos I've done so far, guys, I appreciate you coming by and looking at my stuff. You can always reach me, info@bobsplumbingvideos.com. I hope to see you guys in the next video, and as I always say, happy plumbing.